Taj was the only son?
Yes, Taj was my only boy. He was lovable. He was lovable. He had the most beautiful smile.
I heard from multiple people that he's a wonderful father.
He was a wonderful father. He just said he wanted to be there for his son. He wanted to be a good father. I'm so tired of people playing God and just running around here taking people's lives. Like, it's sickening. There's no reason that he should have been done like that.
I'm on scene, same man here. I'm pretty sure he's dead. We're going to need MCU for this.
So Taj was last seen May 2nd of 2018. It was around 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Taj's girlfriend saw him leave the house, the home that they shared on McKenzie Street. Around 6 or 7 o'clock at night, several gunshots were heard. Taj's body was found on a porch the next morning around 8:30. Cherie, first I want you to take me back to the day you learned of your son's passing.
That whole entire day, I felt sick to my stomach. And then the detectives called about 3:45 and asked me, was he my son? And then they said to wait, that they needed to come and speak to me. And then they came to my job and sat me in a room and showed me a picture on the phone and asked me, was that my son?
What was the picture of? Was it him on that front porch?
Yes.
We start with breaking news out of Petersburg, where police have just released the name of the city's latest homicide victim. Crime Insider sources say it was 22-year-old Tahjmere Hopkins, who was found naked on the front porch of a home by a neighbor. And we are told that he had been shot multiple times and was bound, beaten, and gagged.
Had some type of literature, white sheet or rag or something tied. I don't know how it was around his neck.
It's been 4 years. Nobody has said anything. Even after you heard gunshots, when you know it's in the clear, at least you come outside and you look around to see, So for you to just not come outside at all and look around, and because if you live right across the street, I'm sure you could have seen his body. So I don't understand how nobody saw nothing. I just don't understand that. And then that chair is still on the porch. And I don't understand that either.
Out of all of his injuries, which one stuck out to say this was personal? Because it was very personal.
The fact that they tied him up, the fact that you got him tied around the neck, like you up close, you got him naked.
The way that his wounds were, they're very close personal wounds to his face. He was shot 4 times in the head, according to the autopsy. He was bound, he was gagged.
He was bloody. Face was swollen. It appears that a message was trying to be sent, yes. He suffered.
We were able to get documents from the courts in Chesterfield County, and it did show some sort of a beef between Taj and a man that was known to the family. So this is the last complaint that Tajimir had against. That's your son's handwriting, right?
Mm-hmm. He just was evil. Listen, if I was to find out that he was the one who did something to my son, I wouldn't be surprised.
What we're doing here, what do you hope comes about?
They need to get on their job. They need to get into his Facebook. 2 days after he was murdered, his Facebook was shut down. It was deactivated. They could find out who he met up with, who he was talking to.
You can get in with a search warrant?
They said they can't get into it.
Here's where Mom believes Taj was before he was supposed to go play basketball. Taj was with the girlfriend, and then he went to a friend's house.
So he messaged her from Facebook and said that he was at some boy's house, and it was a couple of guys there, and it didn't seem right. So he was supposed to have left from there and was going to VSU to play basketball.
As far as you know, what have you guys been able to determine where Mr. Hopkins was prior to this location?
Through the course of our investigation, we found out that Mr. Hopkins went to Virginia State University on campus and played basketball with some folks, friends of his. After he finished his game, his whereabouts became unknown.
Did he walk back here, or did someone drop him off?
I don't have any information on his method of travel at a particular time.
You've been in law enforcement a long time.
32 years.
You know your stuff. Travis Christian is the new chief of police down there, so there's a lot of changes. Kenneth Miller was the chief at the time. Travis was a deputy chief. He is now chief, and he has reassigned other detectives to this case now. The way that he was killed, and it was a large crime scene, if I remember, because I remember the day I went to the house, where he was almost running a block down the street.
Correct.
So folks along that street had to have heard it, had to have seen something.
You know, one thing I do know about in law enforcement, as you said, people see things, people hear things. If you have gunshots going off in a neighborhood, somebody's going to be paying attention. Somebody's going to look.
About 6, 7 shots, man, about right before dark, or may have been dark. I didn't pay attention, but I paid attention to those shots.
That scene was not just isolated to that porch. That was a scene that stretched a block or so and then ended on a porch. So that we're confident that someone knew something, seen something, heard something, but as always, the challenge is getting folks to come forward and share that information.
And this is one thing that Mom brought up. She feels like the answer is on Facebook. She says that that's the way he communicated. He communicated through Facebook Messenger. She believes that he may have chatted with his killer. What have you instructed your guys to do as far as weeks to months to heat this thing up?
Well, putting another detective on it, we're going to re-examine again all the evidence that was collected.
He was tied to this metal chair. This chair was overturned here on the porch, and he was laying here.
The chair is still on the porch. And I don't understand, because I'm sure it's evidence on that.
She doesn't believe detectives took all the evidence they could have. For instance, that chair is still there, like it wasn't picked up. The evidence wasn't picked up, and she said there could have been fingerprints or something on that. You know how scenes are processed. Normally, everything that's around a body is taken. Why do you think they left such a high-profile thing like this, for instance, the chair?
Well, I'm not aware of all the evidence that was collected from the scene. I do know that there was a lot of evidence taken. Go back and canvass the area. Go back and canvass the area, not only for additional evidence, but for additional people that may have been around or heard something, and hopefully we can kind of turn over a stone that someone may have missed.
I've known Travis Christian, the chief of police in Petersburg, for more than 20 years. And I think that he will do his due diligence to make sure we get a wrap on this thing and somebody gets arrested. But again, it all comes down to the folks out there that were close to Taj, the people that live on that street. What are they willing to tell to make this thing open up and thaw out? That's the big question, because there are people on that street, St. Matthews, that have the answers.
How deep does this go? Because for people to be that scared, to me, it has to be deeper than that. I just don't feel like he has peace. It's like this thing happened to him and it's not solved. Like, I know it's happening to y'all family. Somebody needs to start talking. And it's sad that my grandson only got 2 years with his father, because he was a good father.
We first started working on the Tahjmere Hopkins case back in April of this year. Let's check in with Mom and see if there's been any progress.
I feel like the only reason why I'm probably in a good place now is because Reopen the Case have stepped in. So that has given me more hope than what I've had this whole entire time. But I did have a chance to speak to the DA, and we went over, some concerns that I may have had.
Our producer got a call from Detective Royster in August. He was making arrangements for Petersburg's forensic team to pick up the now infamous chair. And on Monday, September 12th, they came by CBS 6 and retrieved that chair.
So I take in consideration that I know that there is a lot of stuff going on. I know that there's a lot of deaths in Petersburg, and I know they got other cases going on, and I already know they short-staffed. The least you can do is reach out every once in a while. Make sure, I know, or the family know, that we're still working on this case. This case ain't pushed to the back. It's frustrating that you have to, as a parent who lost a child, have to put in consideration of the department, but the department is not considering you. So that is just a messed up feeling. It hurts. It really hurts. It hurts all of us.
We recognize that once a loved one is tragically killed in an incident, that after the news story is over, a family is still living with that loss. And our commitment is to make sure that in every case possible, we can find closure for the family and bring justice to the person who's victimized someone that we're responsible for protecting.
Even to the bad guys, it's a message. It's a message that, you know, while they think that they may have gotten away with it, there's still eyes out there looking into this case, and it will come forward.
There has to be a contribution not just from the police but from the community members. So something like the Reopen the Case Foundation is so instrumental in opening a door. And let's make sure that we understand that we're doing this to come together for the victims and the families of our victims.
I think Tahjmere case is going to open up doors to a lot of cases, and if this is why he died, to solve a lot, then that's what I'm here for, to give his life purpose.
If you have information about the deaths of Tahjmere Hopkins or Vinnie Ferriello, or the disappearance of Keisha Jacobs, call 833-RTCF-NVA or email us at tips@reopenthecase.org.